Good afternoon, everyone. And before we begin proceedings, and on behalf of all of those present, I'd like to pay my respects to the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. It is upon their ancestral lands that UTS now stands, and similarly pay respects to elders, both past and present, acknowledging them as the traditional custodians of knowledge for these places. And as I always say, knowledge is at the absolute heart of what we are as a university. The creation of knowledge, the dissemination of knowledge, the inspiring of the next generations of knowledge and how they can use knowledge to make the world a better place. And for me, that's emblematic of what we're celebrating here tonight. Wonderful academics, wonderful teams, wonderful colleagues who are inspiring people through their knowledge and how to use that knowledge to make the world a better place. So a very, very warm welcome to you all. Thank you for everyone who's here today, and also to all of those who are joining us via our ceremony live stream. I am absolutely delighted to be here. As you know, I say it every year, this is, I believe, the most important staff event in the UTS calendar, but I'm particularly pleased to be here this year, so we can really have it as a celebration of all the wonderful creative things we're doing, even when we are living in quite extraordinary times. This celebration is acknowledging your hard work, your dedication, your vision and creativity, but more importantly, it's a recognition of your incredible leadership that you've shown and people have shown right across learning and teaching here at UTS. As you're aware, this year we entered the second year of the UTS 2027 strategy. And over the years, the UTS learning and teaching community has championed the real evolution in our approach to learning and student experiences. And UTS 2027 will only serve to build on this dedication and innovation. The heart of our current strategy is a transformation to a lifetime of learning. We know that the world and the future of work is rapidly changing, presenting new and unique challenges for society. You only have to look around you so far in 2020. And if our strategy, our move to this lifetime of learning was important pre-COVID, it is absolutely critical in this post-COVID world. It is absolutely pivotal to how we can help society prosper and recover. Core to our success and the success of our students will be the transformation and continued transformation of the learning and teaching approaches, both in our physical and digital learning ecosystems. Our aim to enhance overall student learning experiences, to ensure that we're providing our students with the skills and capabilities they need to be successful throughout their careers and their lives. I know each and every one of you in the teaching and learning community are instrumental in ensuring that our UTS students and our graduates thrive. And as I said, not just thriving today, not just tomorrow, but thriving throughout their lives. The recipients we recognise today, and importantly, their innovative work, are stellar examples of the innovation that we'll need if we do need to transform to this lifetime of learning. They all demonstrate approaches to learning and teaching that resonate strongly as well with learning futures. Some examples include developing risk awareness to promote sustainability, improving learning through self-discovery, enhancing the experience of internships, and empowering students to understand and apply Indigenous principles and protocols in a professional context. I do want to stress, of course, that today's recipients are not alone in their efforts. I am incredibly proud and deeply grateful to the hard work of our entire teaching and learning community right across UTS. Due to the pandemic, 2020 has been a year of massive disruptions to our normal teaching and learning. But it's also been a year of incredible innovation. True of many sectors, but certainly in teaching and learning, the pandemic fast-tracked a number of trends that society's been facing, that we have faced. But everyone has risen to those challenges and used this as an opportunity to seize upon learnings from the last 6 months to reimagine what the future might hold. So now, by coming together as a community, sharing our experiences, we are not only sharing the knowledge across disciplines, but we're also fostering vision in others and deepening our own understanding. You all play an integral part in creating an inspiring learning environment for students. And I'd wholeheartedly like to again thank you for your ongoing contributions. One of the great joys of being a Vice-Chancellor is going to graduations. And just to see the faces of each and every one of the graduates as they come across, and then meeting them after graduations, and shaking the hand where, without exception, all the graduates that I talk to have a story about somebody who's changed their lives during their time at UTS, an academic or professional staff member who aided their learning, aided their journey, aided their self-discovery. So again, I thank you all for the wonderful work that you do, And I'd now like to introduce Professor Shirley Alexander, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Education and Students, who of course will commence our citations and award ceremony. Welcome, Shirley.
Thank you very much, Vice-Chancellor. I must say it's wonderful to be standing at the lectern and seeing people I haven't seen in months in real life. It's wonderful to see you. I was trying to think how many years I've been hosting these awards, and it's a really long time. And I cannot imagine a more unusual circumstance in which we're doing it, but it is one of the few events that we haven't had to cancel this year. And I think it shows the importance of teaching and learning and celebrating the successes of our wonderful academics. Not only those who've won awards, of course we are, but also those academics who are watching, your peers and your colleagues who have also been achieving extraordinary results in such highly unusual times. So we're going to start the presentations with our learning and teaching citations. So these are awarded for important and significant and sustained contributions to student and learning, student engagement and the student experience by individuals and also by teams. So our 2019 citation winners are Dr. Robin Bowley from the Faculty of Law, Dr. Delia Falconer from the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. Congratulations. Dr. Christopher Glover from the UTS Business School. Now we have a team comprising of a wonderful citizen of UTS Teaching and Learning, Professor Paul Kennedy, Dr. Mukesh Prasad and Aidan Roberts from the Faculty of Engineering and Information Technology. Congratulations. And it's wonderful to see teams coming across the stage. So we now have another team, Dr. Paul Brown, Tyler Key and Janae Leslie from the Faculty of Engineering and Information Technology. And their colleague, Dr. Kat Kutay, is unable to join this evening. Congratulations. Dr. Anna Bedford and Associate Professor Yawen Shan from the UTS Business School. And again, their colleague, Dr. Peter Lamb, is unable to join us this evening. Now, there are two other winners of citations, Dr. Babak Abedin from Engineering and IT and Dr. Christopher Croce from the Faculty of Law are also unable to join us this evening, but I hope they're watching online. Congratulations. So I would now like to present the UTS Learning and Teaching Awards. I must say it's incredibly hard not to rush over and shake hands with our award winners. But once again, we are wishing you well from a 1.5 metre distance. So these awards recognise innovation and excellence in learning and teaching in both undergraduate and postgraduate courses within the framework of the UTS model of global, research-inspired and practice-oriented education. And so the award winners will present for us this evening on their innovative teaching. Now, I know everyone says this, but it was incredibly difficult this time to pick out a single winner. And so we have also awarded some high commendations. So our first high commendation goes to Dr. Kate Delmo from the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, and her award was in the category of strengthening the UTS model of learning. So Kate has very topical research interests, which are in disaster and crisis communication, digital influencers and social media. So congratulations, Kate. And our first award winner, and this is for our category of strengthening the UTS model of learning, is a team from the Faculty of Health, and it's Dr. Alison Cummins, Dr. Christine Catling, Dr. Deborah Fox and Dr. Vanessa Scarf. And they are going to give us a brief presentation about the way in which they have been able to transition students into competent women-centred midwives. Over to you.
Commencing midwifery students can become challenged early in their course due to the confronting and emotional nature of midwifery. We introduced a workshop called Sensitive Issues in Midwifery to address the emotional demands. The workshops build collegiality with peers and promote self-care strategies. The workshop was evaluated and found to demonstrate improvements in learning and teaching, meeting the graduate attribute of collaboration and professional competence. To address the challenges students face in regard to understanding research, we developed a suite of videos in the subject, translating research into midwifery practice. The videos simplify and explain different research methodologies, enhance class discussion, and provide timely support for student assessments. Students say these videos help me understand research and how best to apply it. This project supports students to become professionally competent and enhance the UTS model of learning to be research-inspired. Over the 3-year midwifery program, students engage in compulsory clinical experience placement that occurs in over 20 partnering hospitals. This experience is assessed in the hospital using the validated Australian Midwifery Standards Assessment Tool, the AMSAT. To assist our industry partners to complete the AMSAT, we developed 3 simulated assessment scenarios into short video clips. The videos now sit on the National AMSAT website as a resource for our industry partners. This project strengthens the UTS model of learning through practice-oriented education with industry engagement. Our best example of meeting the midwifery graduate attribute of woman-centred care is the students' continuity of care experiences. Midwifery continuity of care is defined as care provided to women through pregnancy, being on call for the woman's birth, and providing care during the early parenting period. We developed a 3rd-year workshop to prepare our graduates to work in continuity of care at the time of graduation. Our industry partners claimed that UTS positively prepares graduates to transition directly to midwifery continuity of care. Finally, in 3rd year, midwifery students undertake a subject called International Perspectives. Students organise and engage in a student-led conference focused on midwifery care in low and low to middle income countries. This subject and related assessment tasks meet the UTS model of learning professional practice in a global workplace. Students love the conference, and they always say they have a greater knowledge of midwifery on a global scale. Our award demonstrates a collaborative midwifery team-based approach to strengthening the UTS model of learning. Thank you.
So I'm now pleased to present the award for Indigenous capabilities into the curriculum. And our winners are Dr. Megan Haywood and Dr. Natalie Krikowa from the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. Dr. Megan Haywood is an academic and media artist whose practice is at the intersection of storytelling and digital technologies. And Dr. Natalie Krikowa is a media scholar and practice-led researcher. and they recognised the need to build Indigenous competency into the BACom in digital and social media program. And in their response, they developed an active learning program that foregrounds Indigenous principles and protocols. Congratulations, Megan and Natalie.
Thank you. We'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, upon whose ancestral lands our university now stands. We'd also like to pay respect to the elders past, present and emerging, acknowledging them as the traditional owners of and custodians of knowledge for this land. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. We're honoured to accept this award for the active learning framework we developed to build Indigenous professional competencies in digital and social media students. We leveraged student engagement with their mobile phones, developing a case study assessment of Indigenous mobile apps to embed student understanding of Indigenous cultural principles and protocols and how these can operate within a digital environment. The active learning framework was developed in consultation and with guidance from Indigenous colleagues, in particular, Professor Susan Page of the UTS Centre for the Advancement of Indigenous Knowledges. The framework involved a deep focus on Indigenous cultural principles and protocols, such as respect, Indigenous agency, communication, consultation, negotiation, and consent, copyright attribution and benefit sharing embedded as foundational knowledge. It included a set of problem-based real-world scenarios worked on in classes which activated points of friction with the principles and protocols. We included cultural tours of the UTS art collection, facilitated by UTS Art and UTS Yumbunna, and we'd especially like to thank Alice McAuliffe, previously of UTS Art, for her important contributions here. And we filmed video interviews with leading Indigenous app developers Liam Ridgway and John Sorlow of NGNY Digital Agency to provide students with expert knowledge from Indigenous digital entrepreneurs.
So students were able to select an app that ranged from health to education to language and culture. And by activating those principles and protocols, they were able to determine how those developers, some of which who were Indigenous and some who were non-Indigenous, were able to represent and communicate issues and ideas around Indigenous peoples, language, culture, and communities. Students reported back both informally and formally through the student feedback survey that they found the assessment to be helpful, but also very practical in terms of attributes that they would need as they emerge as graduates into their digital and social media careers. So we'd like to thank the rest of our Digital Publishing for Apps teaching team, our discipline colleagues, and again, the Centre for the Advancement of Indigenous Knowledges here at UTS. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next award is for Learning Futures, and ironically, our winner is teaching, and so can't be here. Our winner is Dr. Gavin Paul, who comes from Engineering and Information Technology, and he's a senior lecturer in the School of Mechanical and Mechatronic Engineering, and he's a core member of the Centre for Autonomous Systems. So he has been advancing studio-based, purpose-driven learning opportunities in mechatronics and robotic engineering. And he has provided personalised learning opportunities to students in a collaborative, well-supported online environment, which fosters deep learning and creativity. So because he couldn't be with us and he knew he was teaching, he has prepared a video acceptance of this award.
Hi, my name's Gavin Paul, and I'm a senior lecturer of the School of Mechanical and Mechatronic Engineering in FEIT and a robotics researcher for the Centre for Autonomous Systems. I'm very proud of my students, and as they've trained to solve the engineering challenges of tomorrow, their enthusiasm and commitment and learning outcomes have been a constant source of energy for me. So while my students introduce and show their personalised learning outcomes from 41013 Robotics and 48622 Mechatronics 1, I'll briefly explain my take on Learning.Futures and why it resonates with me, and why it seems to work in my real and virtual classrooms. I developed from scratch the new subject for 1013 Robotics in 2016 and coordinated it with the mission to inspire students so as to spark their desire to understand, not just remember. It's a journey into the world of robots.
I had someone call me today with an idea. They needed to come up with a robot to help in the kitchen because too many people were crying on their onions.
Do you struggle with bread?
Do you enjoy stepping on Lego bricks?
Are you sick of always needing to clean up the work desks inside the office?
I'm thinking that we could probably make a robot.
All right, let's get to work.
When I was an undergrad, I used to travel hours each way to university to listen to long lectures given by unenthusiastic academics in front of well-worn slide decks filled with principles and formulas that I could have read at home or on the train. I loved engineering, but I wanted to build robots. A course filled with theories, principles, facts, and statistics may be necessary, but they are uninspiring. As much as I learned about engineering during those years of study, probably the most important thing I learned was about the power any leader has to cultivate or quash agency. When I decided to become a teacher, I wanted to be a source of agency for my students. Fortunately, when I became an academic in 2016, Learning.Futures had just launched, encompassing all the principles I wanted to include in my teaching, leveraging technology and online resources, shorter but far more valuable face-to-face time, and finding solutions for messy problems as we find them in the real world, not just as simplified theoretical examples we find in books. With the support of this program, I resolved to lead the change I wanted myself. Purpose-driven and project-based learning enables students to identify a solid why, which significantly increases their intrinsic motivation. Since 2017, I've coordinated 48622 Mechatronics 1. I've revamped the way it is delivered, assessed, and personalised to inspire students to engage and advance along their unique educational journey. The sage on the stage doesn't give students hands-on experience with programming and coding, and it certainly doesn't work for students with limited English proficiency. I created a concise, targeted online lecture series, and then I hold face-to-face classes called interactive sessions where students collaboratively solve problems. During this time, I have learnt as much from students as they've learnt from me, and I continue to be surprised by what the majority can achieve in a short space of time when they're really engaged. The content is challenging and the learning curve is steep, but deep learning is not about memorizing facts or passing exams. It's about engaging with material, synthesizing with personal experience, trying and failing, and coming to a deeper understanding about the world. Due to the positive response by students to personalized learning in robotics in Mechatronics 1, I've also run 4 summer studios over the past 3 years and have been involved in developing a studio-themed Master in Robotics. Although I helped to set the tone in the early stages, in truth I've been supported by a huge team of outstanding tutors funded by UTS. All are my former undergraduate or current PhD students, and at all times we aim to create a culture of excellence that the students can admire. Nothing I have done has been done in isolation, and I'm so proud to see my former students helping to create the leaders of tomorrow.
How impressive was that? And I could think of a few ways in which I could use these robots too. Now, sometimes I meet people who make me feel lazy, and Rachel White, who's our next award winner, is one of those people. Rachel has won the award for teaching by a casual or sessional staff member. Rachel has been incredibly generous over the years in participating in the UTS learning and teaching community. She's won awards before, so I'm very well acquainted with the extraordinary work that she has undertaken over the years. But her award today is for her work in developing online learning quizzes that are creative, engaging, and collaborative in-class learning experiences with marking rubrics. And she leads a community of practice, and she's continually enhancing students' learning experiences in accounting. Congratulations, Rachel White. Thanks, Shirley.
As educators, we hold such a powerful, privileged position to shape the minds and the lives of our students. So we have a responsibility to make their learning experience the best it possibly can be. Excuse me, nervous, but that excites me. Not being nervous, getting our students learning. So I'm constantly thinking of ways that we can continually make our students' learning experience the best it possibly can be. So I've done a few things for this particular award, including developing online learning quizzes for our first year accounting students. Now, in particular, these are not multiple choice questions. They're designed to authentically replicate the accounting process so students can get feedback on what they need to be able to demonstrate. I've also been involved in creating marking rubrics across the accounting discipline group, so our students get a sense of continuity, for example, of how written work is assessed across all of our accounting subjects as they progress through their degree. And my favourite, developing engaging and collaborative tutorial experiences. For example, getting students to draw a Harvard case study or creating tangible objects that can frame our discussion and make our theory come to life. But I recognise I'm not the only one with amazing ideas, and that's why I have championed developing a tutor community of practice. I'm constantly having chats with my fellow sessional academics, and they've got amazing ideas, but they just lack the confidence to share their ideas, especially because our jobs are so insecure. So I act as a tutor liaison between the sessional academics and the subject coordinators, so that to give the tutors the confidence to build, test, share and embed their amazing ideas into our lesson plans. I also mentor both commencing sessional staff, but also commencing full-time staff to UTS, and I share with them some of the ideas to engage the students in the classroom that I've picked up over the years. But I recognise as a casual academic, I don't actually have the power to implement any of my ideas because I'm a tutor, I'm not a subject coordinator. So I'm really grateful for the amazing support that I receive from the people that I work with, including Dr. James Wakefield, Dr. Kelly Wang, the inspirational Dr. Nicole Sutton. And I also wanted to take a special mention to Dr. Kathy Aher, who has given me incredible opportunities throughout my time here, without which I would not be standing here today. I also actually want to recognise the financial assistance of the University of the First and Further Year Experience grants and the Social Impact grants, without which a lot of these projects wouldn't actually have come to fruition. So for everyone who helped me win my award, I do want to finish by saying thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachel. Our next category of award is for early career teaching. And a high commendation goes to Bernard Saliba from the Faculty of Health for inspiring and motivating first-year health science students. Bernard is a lecturer and early career researcher in the Centre for Public and Population Health Research, and through a combination of innovative development of curriculum, orientation activities and a careers-focused program, Bernard has given first-year health science students a sense of belonging, a sense of empowerment and career aspiration. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Bernard. And our award goes to Dr. Job Franson from the Faculty of Health for improving learning through self-discovery. Job Franson is a senior lecturer in sports and exercise science. He teaches skill acquisition, motor control, motor learning, motor development and research methods. Job encourages students to develop self-directed and individualised learning approaches that help them become lifelong learners. Job cannot be with us this evening and has prepared a video presentation for his award.
I would like to thank UTS for awarding me the UTS Vice-Chancellor's Early Career Teaching and Learning Award for integrating self-discovery learning in the subject skill acquisition, a subject in sport and exercise where students explore how humans learn motor skills over time. Self-discovery learning is not new and has been used extensively in primary and secondary education, as well as in sport pedagogy with excellent student outcomes. Students who engage in self-discovery learning report higher levels of autonomy, greater academic achievements, and improved self-perceptions. They also retain knowledge for longer and are more inquisitive and critical thinkers. However, its implementation in tertiary education contexts is rare and has not been without its fair share of challenges. For example, student feedback surveys, which measure acute satisfaction of students immediately following the semester, are generally poorer when students engage in self-discovery learning. Tertiary education students also report that they are unfamiliar with messy learning environments where solutions to problems self-emerge rather than being taught. Self-discovery methods inherently lead to more errors and subsequently more opportunities to learn from those errors. Unfortunately, errors are something many of us avoid at all costs, especially at the pointy end of the proverbial education stick. Finally, in implementing self-discovery in tertiary education, we are fighting a constant battle against inherent student expectations based on their high school experience, where studying and knowledge and skill acquisition are very much teacher-driven. This has not stopped me, however, from implementing a guided self-discovery approach, where the aim is for students to become active problem solvers rather than passive solution replicators. In my classes, I emphasize repetition without repetition. This means that throughout the classes and assessments, students have the freedom to problem solve or adapt their learning in ways that suits them individually. For example, in one of my assessments, students spend 20 hours learning a motor skill of their choice, while rigorously documenting the process. However, the aim of the assessment is not to demonstrate how much students improved their motor skill performance, but to use knowledge and practical skills obtained from the classes to explain why their program was or was not successful. The student is given complete freedom on which practice program to use or how to document and present their progress. Engaging in self-discovery learning makes for adaptable students who have not only acquired knowledge and practical skills, but have also learned about learning, arming them with adaptable, flexible, and moldable skills that can be used for a lifetime. During another one of my classes, where students study the way in which the central nervous system controls the complexity of the human body in highly coordinated actions, I challenged the students to play along to Britney Spears' Baby One More Time on the drums. Many of the students have no experience with drumming, and this laboratory is ideal for them to discover how the central nervous system succeeds in producing rhythmic and coordinated behavior, and how that behavior looks entirely different for every single student. Through this lab, students assemble knowledge on the complexities of organizing the human body to produce purposeful movement, and the variability of the produced behavior among learners. I hope this provides the viewers with some insights into how I have incorporated self-discovery learning within my subject skill acquisition over the last 5 years. I sincerely thank you for your attention.
Well, I hope that Yob is able to watch this online, but I can absolutely identify with everything you said. Wonderful presentation, thank you. Our next award is for team teaching, and we have a team from the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, Dr. Christine Aquino, Cornelia Betzler and Dr. Anne El-Khoury. Unfortunately, Anne is not able to be with us tonight, but congratulations, Christine and Cornelia. So our award winners teach global studies in the School of International Studies. Dr. Aquino's research is concerned with migration, multiculturalism, race and racism. Dr. El-Khoury is interested in globalisation 4.0, development, social justice, geography. And Cornelia is the school's work integrated learning coordinator. And together, through the introduction of innovative learning activities and resources, strategic partnership building with industry, and implementing efficient admin systems, they have improved internship opportunities and outcomes for FAS Global Studies students. Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley, and we're thrilled to be recognised for our teamwork on the Bachelor of Global Studies internship program. Over the last 4 years, Connie, Anne and myself have been combining our expertise as academics and professional staff to try to inspire global studies students to learn more about their professional pathways. So internships, are often the first introduction into the job market and professional world for many students. And our goal has been to provide the support and infrastructure that can assist them through these daunting first steps. So what we've focused on is preparing students and employers for the internship experience. We think students and employers who are well-equipped and well-prepped about the expectations, goals, and structure of the internship makes for a fulfilling and equitable experience for all. So our team works together, for example, to organise our flagship activity, which is an annual Global Studies internship preparation workshop. It's a kind of half-day intensive hands-on workshop that prepares students to source their internships and navigate the job market. It includes activities such as a skills audit session with UTS Careers, who also assist in helping students develop a pitch on their degree skills and qualifications for potential employers. And we also assemble an exciting alumni employer panel who provide practical advice on strategies for finding internships, and employers in particular give valuable insight into what they look for in interns and graduates, which the students really appreciate and allows them to kind of gain confidence in engaging with professionals. We've also dedicated much time to developing a range of resources such as student and employer guides to improve and streamline communication between students, employers and the university. And the positive employer feedback reflects the outcomes from focusing on this preparation process, which has seen many return as regular internship hosts over the years. And most importantly, students have really valued the time invested in preparing them for the internship, because once the internship starts, they can focus on the important things, on skills development, expanding their professional networks, and as well developing their interests and passions. And it's that feedback from students that has really been the most rewarding for our team. So thank you again for recognizing our work.
So our final UTS award for the evening is for individual teaching. And I'm very pleased to invite Dr. Mohsen Nadapour to the stage. Mohsen is from our Faculty of Engineering and IT, and he has won his award for developing risk awareness in engineering students to promote sustainability. Mohsen is a lecturer at the School of Information Systems and Modelling and a core member of the Centre for Artificial Intelligence and the Centre for Advanced Modelling and Geospatial Information Systems. Mohsen applies practice-based and research-informed teaching in the risk management in engineering subject, and he has empowered engineering students to become risk-aware engineers who are ready to drive safe, reliable and sustainable futures. Congratulations, Mohsen.
Hello everyone. I'm so proud and honored to be here today. I teach risk management in engineering. This is a postgraduate subject with 200 students. My success story has 5 chapters. The first one is to drive home the message that engineering is all about managing risk. I designed the subject, redeveloped the subject based on real-life case studies. Real-life case studies are very rich in the context, and they can inspire students to learn. And because I have been a risk engineer before joining UTS, I use my professional experience to redevelop the subject. And to maximize the interaction and learning for the students, I use a flipped classroom instead of traditional lectures. Because risk engineering problems are very complex, research skills are very important. And I embedded such skills in the subject. Every week, we have a 3-hour workshop. At the end of each workshop, we allocate 15 to 20 minutes to talk about assessments. And one of the assessments is a risk paper. During this discussion, the students learn how to write a scientific paper. This could improve the students' work and leading to the journal publication, high quality journal publication with coursework students. 3, to make sure that we teach and the students learn something which is relevant, I valued the partnership with industry. Since I've been the subject coordinator, Engineers Australia have been on board, and they delivered guest lecture for the students as well, and they provide free access for the students to the latest guidelines as well. 4, I excel in responding to the students' feedback and closing the feedback loop. I use early SFS and final SFS in a timely manner to respond to the students' comment, and I use this opportunity to fine-tune and optimize the subject. I've learned a lot from the students' comment, and the current version is very different from the first version of the subject. You can see I use these word clouds at the beginning to go through 6 or 7 pages of PDF at the end of the semester. I start with word clouds. This one shows how the students liked the subject. Subject, very good, are those most frequent words in the cloud, and that one is about good class and time, because we have been in the Powerhouse Museum on Fridays from 6 to 9 p.m. Instead of drinking somewhere, they had to come to the class. And last chapter is, last but not least, all these efforts worked well because I have a close relationship with my students. I care about them, I try to understand their situation, and this relationship helped us actually to improve the students' experience in the subject. Thank you.
Thank you, Mosen. As some of you know, I spend many, many hours and weekends reading through student feedback. And I have to say, if I had to pick the top issue that comes out over and over again in terms of what students value, it's a relationship with their teacher and a sense that their teacher cares about them and their learning. So I think you just gave amazing evidence of the way in which you do that, Mosen, and why you're such a wonderful winner of our award. Congratulations. So that concludes our UTS Teaching Awards. But what you may not know is that there are also Australian awards for teaching and learning, and there are awards and there are citations. We held and UTS won 2 citations this year and 1 award. Now, there are not a lot of those given out, and so UTS did extraordinarily well in achieving those wins. We had the award ceremony, as we always do, in Canberra just before COVID, and we were able to present the awards, but we would normally have a ceremony, a state-based ceremony to present the citations, and not surprisingly, that was cancelled. So we don't want our award winners, our citation winners, to get away without being recognised by the university. And so the 2019 Australian Awards for University Teaching citations for outstanding contributions to student learning went to Dr. Cherie Lucas from the Graduate School of Health, and Dr. Julia Pryor from the Faculty of Engineering and Information Technology. Unfortunately, she was not able to be here this evening. So who was our award winner? I think that, we only have about 4 categories. I'm the chair of the national panel. And I'm very pleased to say that Bem LaHunt and her team members from Transdisciplinary Innovation, Dr. Alex Bomba, Dr. Paul Brown, Amanda McGregor, Dr. Betty O'Neill and Beth Wilson, were the winning team for the Australian Awards for programs that enhance learning in the field of educational partnerships and collaborations with other organisations. And this award recognises the work of the Bachelor of Creative Intelligence and Innovation, which some people have described as the most innovative degree in Australia in the last 5 years. Indeed, sometimes when I go out, or I used to go out, and I'd mention I was from UTS, people would often say to me, "Oh, have you heard of a degree there called Creative Intelligence?" And I say, "Yes, I have heard of it." And so Ben has led that program over a number of years, and when I look at any statistic about teaching and learning, it always scores incredibly highly, and we know that the graduates are very highly sought after. So that we congratulate the team, first of all, on winning that award. So we thought it was only appropriate that we invite Bem LaHunt to give the keynote address this evening on the theme of learning for the new world. Bem is an international author and an expert in the field of creative intelligence. And over the past 3 decades, she has worked across a broad range of creative industries, from advertising and journalism to publishing and new media. She teaches creative thinking, theory and practice, and works with academics from across all of our faculties, as well as industry stakeholders. I'm very much looking forward to this, Bem, so I invite you to the stage.
Thank you, Shirley. I'm honoured to be here. And I'd also like to pay my respects to our Indigenous elders, brothers and sisters, past, present, emerging, from the bottom of my heart. Now, the title I'm working with today is Learning for the New World. I don't want to speak about learning in the new world. I don't wish to speak about Zoom backgrounds and our emergency shift to Canvas, because this has been the daily emotional labour of many incredible educators in this room today since they won their awards. We know this, I know this. I don't want to talk about learning in the new world because it restricts our thinking to an emergency and all the disorganisation and reorganisation that comes out of that and is associated with it. So instead, I'd like to talk about learning for the new world. I want to talk about what learning might look like for future students being born today, during a global pandemic, their dreams, their needs, the world's needs in times to come. And I feel we need to have this conversation now, as they say you should never waste a crisis. They're rare, precious portals for us to catapult into new practices and paradigms, a moment for punctuated equilibrium, as the scientists say, or accelerated evolution. So, as I'm going to be talking about the future, I have a crystal ball, aka UTS snow globe, which was given to me by a very wise and visionary person, which I'll use. And in this crystal ball, I see 2 directions into the future. And it's strange, but one of these directions into the future is actually the past, representing everything going on the same as it ever did. I can't see too far down this path, but I see institutions clinging to structures that they know, the comfort of students continually needing the same type of education that they have valued for so long and know how to offer. My crystal ball tells me that there are many, many obstacles ahead for this university. Brands like Google stepping up as learning providers, taking the role of institutions, organizations offering in-house universities, students learning through a whole set of services and providers we have yet to understand. The other path in my crystal ball goes into the future not on a road, but through a network. There is no longer just a formal economy, but an informal economy of learning in this world. Learning happens absolutely everywhere. This network requires a completely new vision for the future, where learning supersedes education per se. A world where systems and individuals and networks learn together. Complexity thinker Nora Bateson claims that when most people think of learning, they think of it taking place in an institution. They think, we learn and they learn, but the culture doesn't learn. She begs to differ, and she asks, when you learn to play the violin, is it in the muscles or in the relationship to the music or teacher? Is it emotional or cultural or in relation to the history of that instrument? Where is the learning? Is it intellectual, relational, emotional, physical? It's in the relatedness of all of these. So similarly, the boundaries are merging between universities, between students, academics, industry partners, government, community partners. And there is plenty of learning happening at the porous edges. In the research we do into transformative learning in the Faculty of Transdisciplinary Innovation, we call this the liminal third space, where our industry partners, academics, students, professional staff all learn together. And note the idea of liminality here, this learning in between. Because in this new world, there will be learning happening at the porous boundaries. Then there's an individual learner, networked, complex, likely to have these 17 jobs supposedly across 5 completely different sectors. Will they learn through their organization's in-house university? Or do they have degrees that take place over 20 years? What stories will they be weaving from their lives as they move from work, say, in a management consultancy to become founder of a startup, to working in healthcare, to perhaps even working in a new kind of aviation industry that we have yet to imagine or encounter? And in the future, knowledge itself will be more transitional than ever. Even now we have leading professor at UTS who's contributed at the top of their field, going back to 101 classes in their own discipline. So how will we manage learning, lifelong learning for our academics, as well as the public, as well as our systems? So much is changing so fast that some writers like Ron Barnett have said that in the face of such super complexity, we can no longer focus on knowledge or epistemology, but we must focus on being or ontology. I often wonder what the university system would look like if we created a curriculum for being at the center of learning as a unifying system of study. For the past 7 years, we've experimented with this in a degree that Shirley mentioned, the Bachelor of Creative Intelligence and Innovation. In this degree, we have students from 25 different degrees from all of our faculties learning together. It's a transdisciplinary degree. The degree has to be a curriculum for being, because how can we possibly focus simply on knowing or knowledge when we have 25 disciplines to explore? We'd never get to any depth. So instead, we focus on the knower, not the many knowledges, the sense maker, the learner, building skills in creativity, collaboration, problem solving, complexity thinking, change making. It's a degree in joining up the dots between disciplines to see the bigger picture, to find a bigger purpose, and become a bigger human. So in my crystal ball, the new networked world will demand that learners cross borders like never before, because knowledge will not stop at borders or disciplines. If the past few months have taught us anything, it's that knowledge does not stop at all at these borders. It's not restricted to any single discipline. This challenge that has separated us into postage-sized Zoom compartments on a screen and separated us into our homes and left our classrooms empty, this challenge has not stopped our learning. Have we stopped learning? Absolutely not. We've had to learn more rapidly than ever about so many things, not just about the science of a virus, but the sociology of a new world, the psychology of separation, the architecture and its affordances as we separate into our different spaces, the technology that will help us connect, the changing laws that might keep us safe, the politics that constrain us, and the narratives that will guide us through to better times. Whether you describe yourself as creative or not, this crisis requires all our creativity as a species to tie together the dots of these different domains of knowledge. And Steve Jobs once said that creativity, if it's about anything, it's about tying together the dots. Since lockdown started, we've had to think beyond our comfort zones in the liminal spaces between the disciplines. So transdisciplinarity, what is it? UNESCO gives us a very simple definition. They describe a dinner party as a metaphor. So if monodisciplinarity is like organizing a dinner party where everyone brings a dish, we've all been to one of these. Cross-disciplinarity might be like, hey, let's share a theme, let's do Mexican. You bring the guacamole, I'll bring the chips, and so on. Transdisciplinarity is like planning, cooking, and eating together. So I'd like to step you into this dinner party for a moment and into a new university that plans, cooks, and eats together. In this new university, not only will our learners and institutions have to cross borders, but our teachers will too. Future academics won't simply speak a single language, that of face-to-face teaching or that of online teaching. Neither will they be encouraged to speak the language of only one discipline. We'll all have to be multilingual to stay connected and relevant. We might even have to think about ourselves primarily as learners, not primarily as experts. Our humility and ability to keep learning, keep adapting, will help stabilize our institutions, giving new meaning to a classroom without walls. We'll have a rhizome presence within our cultures. Most importantly, in order to adapt and impact on our systems, in order to meet the needs of the children being born today during a world crisis, we will need to care very deeply about what we do. And caring deeply about learning will allow us to advocate for a university as an institution that enables connected, equitable access to learning as a global right. And I take this opportunity to congratulate all the winners in this room for the incredible caring that you've put into your work. We'll have to care about our students and their challenges faced by the world. We'll have to think past oppositions between learner and teacher, because we'll all be learners. And we'll have to go into these liminal spaces that I spoke about. And pandemics have taken us there before. So after the Black Plague in the 1300s, there was a big shift. New leaders were able to rise up, like the Medici family that connected the arts with the sciences, with intellectuals. They sponsored thinking around and across many disciplines, and the Renaissance was born. If I look into my crystal ball, I can see our disciplines working together like this again. I can see our institutions working more collaboratively. I can see us raising the water level together, moving from ego to eco. And what does it look like? Well, if I give my ball a little shake, it looks like silver snowflakes falling from the sky. It looks like academic bonnets thrown into the air, falling on freshly mown graduation lawns. It feels like heartfelt fun and deep gratitude, and most significantly, purposeful learning for human and non-human thriving. So thank you to the people in the room who are true believers in this vision and work hard to maintaining learning as sacred, Thank you for listening to me, and congratulations to our award winners.
Thank you so much, Bem. At the moment, if you read around the world, you see there are many competing narratives for what learning for the new world might be. And one such narrative that's gaining interest is one that says, imagine MIT pairing up with Google or Apple and just doing all the teaching in the world. And I always assure people that will never happen. Because of what I said earlier, is that that's not what students want. They want to have a relationship. We are social beings. But as we navigate our future, I hope that our planning for what we do next, because indeed we don't want to waste a good crisis either, and we are looking at where we go in the future. But I hope it is more like a dinner party where we all plan together and we cook together and we enjoy the fruits together. So thank you so much, Bem, for that wonderful address. And thank you to all our award winners for sharing your practice. And I hope that leads to, and I'm going to use a term from Ben's presentation, I hope it leads to accelerated evolution of those teaching and learning approaches at UTS. So thank you to everyone for attending our Learning and Teaching Awards. But before I close, I just want to recognise the team who've actually done all the work in putting this together. It's actually much easier organising a regular Teaching and Learning Awards ceremony. Organising a hybrid ceremony is way more difficult, and they just happen to be standing right here. So thank you so much to Philippa Scott, who's led the team, Ruby Seward. I know Phoebe is here somewhere, and her team, who are standing in the dark, so I can't quite see who they are, but thank you as well. So to everyone watching from home, thank you for tuning in, and thank you and good night. Unfortunately, there are no drinks, but there is a gift bag for you to take home and enjoy a little celebration at home. But can I ask the Citation Award and Commendation winners to please stay for photos, and I'll now hand over to the events team.